Okay, quite the crowd here. Brad Parscale, thanks for being here. If we were doing this interview yesterday, I'd start out talking about your triumph a year ago in helping elect Donald Trump president, but we're doing it today, and last night the Democrats swept the races in Virginia, including the governor's race, against the candidate who many people were say were playing a Trumpian campaign. Was this a repudiation of the candidate you helped elect?
No, I don't believe so. I don't think the Virginia race, he really actually did embrace Trump. I think that you saw that down in Georgia. I saw that in other races where people actually embraced Trump. It was more of an addition to, instead of a subtraction of, that you saw in Virginia. And I think he made a mistake to not and probably embrace Trump more.
But it certainly has emboldened the Democrats and will.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always ebb and flows. Those are tough races. You know, I think those are parts of it. Yeah, I think the 18 cycle. I think the Republican Party is in a great place for 18, and I think Americans will continue to support the Trump agenda.
You have been described as the secret weapon of the Trump campaign because you figured out how to use data and Facebook. Tell us, what did you know and understand that the Clinton campaign did not?
I don't know if it was about something I didn't understand. I think that
that they didn't understand.
That they didn't understand. Yeah, I think I had come from a consumer world for a long time, and America was moving. Eyeballs were moving to social media in huge numbers, into your mobile phones and your devices. And when Donald Trump asked me to work on the campaign, I also knew I had a great piece of product that would resonate with Americans. It was the right mix. When anybody's in marketing and advertising, it's a lot easier to sell an iPod than it is a Zoom. You want a great product. You want things that resonate. People, will make them dance.
But you've said you won the election on Facebook. Explain.
Well, when I mean I won on Facebook is we needed to raise a lot of money. And when Donald Trump became the candidate, we didn't have any money. I mean, other than Mr. Trump's money, and I don't think he wanted to write all that check himself. He probably would have, but he didn't want to. And we needed to create a grassroots campaign. We needed to go out and find people, and we needed to find millions of people to be our grassroots supporters. And Facebook allowed us to do that in alarming numbers very fast. And we could able to get across the country at a cost. We were able to drive our CPM, KPI, whatever you want to call it, our main indicators, so low that we were able to get to so many people and to drive in those numbers. Those people then end up becoming the engine which raised the $280 million that we mainly spent in advertising. Without that, we wouldn't have had the ad budget to even compete with Hillary.
And you had Facebook employees in your office helping to craft ads, which surprised a lot of people.
They weren't crafting ads.
What were they doing?
They were there to help us support their platform. So look, if you go spend $300 million, mainly a couple $100 million in social media, or 100 million social media, 100 million on TV. A lot of people show up at your office wanting to help you spend that money on their platforms. So Facebook would rather have me spend that 100 million on their platform. Twitter would rather have me spend it there. Snapchat, Google, they were all wanting to have that money. So teaching us and educating us how to use that platform as best as possible was a good thing to do.
What did they teach you?
I mean, we have a lot of staff. They might say, hey, here's a better way to onboard audiences. Here's ways the platform could be useful. Here are things we've learned and experiences from other companies. Here are ideas and concepts of how to use the platform better. They have lots of different products. They're a very big company. And for any person, this is the biggest difference, I think, between myself and the Clinton campaign. I didn't sit there and go, I know everything about Facebook. Don't help me learn anything more about it. Let me just do it my way. I did the opposite, and I said, please educate me everything that you possibly can, and my staff. Because who would know Facebook better than Facebook?
You were crafting and micro-targeting ads to specific audiences. And I think you said something like you would do 50 to 60,000 ads a day, which seems like a phenomenal number. Explain how you would do that and why there would be so many different ads.
On a peak day, on a couple peak days, we had over 150,000 different pieces of creative running online.
Right.
Now, we had multiple programmatic buyers and platforms running across Facebook. What that would do is sometimes when you're trying to raise money, different people like different colors, people like different messages, long form, short form, pictures, images. you take that and you put those across each other and you automate the construction of the ads, your math goes up really fast. We also wanted to see what people would resonate with. The machine learning would auto-remove those underperforming ads. And that's what would drive those kind of ability for us, for the first time in history, to really generate more than $1 in donation with less than $1 spent on the ad. And to that end up providing that surge of revenue that was coming into the campaign that allowed us to compete in the general election.
I think you've said that the best performing ads you did were about infrastructure, rebuilding roads, bridges, highways, that really resonated with rural voters, correct?
There were certain portions of the country where infrastructure was a place that was a not seen little element. When you start getting into data, and you do that much research and pulling, and you start to build up universes and seeing what's out there in the electorate happening, data lets you point that direction, and it lets you find things within Mr. Trump's agenda that lets you do that.
Okay, so here we are a year later, and there has been no infrastructure plan introduced by President Trump in Congress. There's been no action on that whatsoever. So you told voters, vote for Donald Trump, and he's going to repair your roads and bridges. And here we are, and he's done none of that. Did you con the voters that you were targeting?
No, I mean, he's got 3 years left to still fix infrastructure.
Yeah, but here we are a year later, and there has been no movement on that.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of time still. He's trying to get, working on tax reform right now, and American people want more money in their pocket, and that's what he's working on.
Does it disappoint you that he hasn't done more?
No, I think he's done a ton. I think he's done more than any president we've had in a long time.
What's he done on infrastructure?
I think he has a long time to do that. He has time to do that. Right now, he's focusing on tax reform, and I think that it is a thing to put middle-class Americans more money in their pocket, and that's what they want.
Are you disappointed at all that here we are a year later, no health care, no infrastructure, no major piece of legislation has passed by the candidate you helped elect?
Now, I'm disappointed that there are certain Republicans in the Senate that held back health care, and I think Mr. Trump still wants to see more affordable health care. He wants to see better health care for our country, and I think he's going to continue to focus on that. But I think that it might take the midterms to make changes for that to happen. I'm excited for tax reform. I think it was one of the biggest agenda items we had, and the biggest thing we pushed on, and I think he'll get it done by the end of the year.
There's been a lot of controversy, of course, about the Russian role in the election, and also a company called Cambridge Analytica, which I think you brought in to help you in crafting these ads. What role did Cambridge Analytica play in your campaign?
Yeah, Cambridge did not play a role in crafting ads. Cambridge was brought on early.
What were they doing?
At the beginning, they really kind of helped us from a research strategy to help us raise money. We needed to build an infrastructure. They provided staff resources because we had to grow a large organization fast. They did a lot of polling, and they helped really kind of build some directional arrows for us to where to place the money. Be able to provide reporting back that says, hey, here are trends that are happening, so that I could move the budget around in a way and to make recommendations to the president and to leadership saying, hey, here's where we have an opportunity. We should go into this part of Michigan. We should go into this part of Wisconsin. They were able to drive that kind of information from the polling and research and really provide that in a visualization and a simple consumption model daily that allowed that to happen.
There's been a theory put out by Democrats and other critics that Cambridge Analytica was helping you to target messages based on input from Russian state actors. Do you believe that happened?
No. I mean, I have obviously no idea what Cambridge did, but we didn't use Cambridge in that manner. We didn't use any of their psychographic stuff. We didn't use their data. The data we used was all coming from the Republican National Committee and the changes they made after Romney, and via the data trust and the data sets they had. So our targeting data and that all data came from the party.
Would you know if it had happened?
If I would know what?
That Russian state actors were helping Cambridge Analytica target your voters.
It would have nothing to do with the campaign in any sense that I know of.
Well, they were working for you, and you were running the digital strategy for the campaign.
But their data was not a data set that we were using.
So you were just using the RNC data, and
using the RNC data for targeting.
For what?
The staff to research and do polling of that data. We would build some universes, but mainly building visualization tools that help us understand. It's a very complex manner of all the different pieces of data are, and to believe that some kind of ingested data like that would have some say in what we were doing just seems hard to believe.
Right. As you know, a lot of continuing investigations into the role that the Russian influence campaign played in the election. We've had the revelations just in the last few weeks about all the Russian trolls that were targeting voters through Facebook. You were working so closely with Facebook for a lot of the same voters. Were you aware that Russian trolls were inside Facebook taking out these ads, targeting some of the same voters you were targeting?
I actually think Facebook said in their testimony that targeting was not the same last week.
Well, some were, some weren't.
Yeah,
but in any case,
Facebook said the testimony last week in front of Congress that targeting was not the same.
Right. Yet some of the Russian bots we know were exploiting and targeting Trump voters, correct?
I don't know. I still think that it comes down to it, the size and the scope of what's there. Look, I don't want Russia and any foreign entity to meddle in our election any more than any other American. However, I think the scale and the scope of it was pretty tiny. I think they need, and Facebook and the platforms, probably should regulate and make sure that foreign entities don't come in there. That's their responsibility, probably. And the government and Facebook will figure that out. But I think to say that had any influence over Trump and his voice would be saying that if we took this whole building and made it a salad bowl and dropped 2 pieces of salt in it, you could taste it. And I just don't think that's a possibility.
But we do know that there were Russian bots out there that were specifically speaking to your voters. And I want to ask you about one of them, 10_GOP. Tennessee _GOP, Republican Party, pretended to be a Tennessee Republican Party Twitter account. In fact, it was a Russian troll account, a Russian bot. And Trump campaign officials retweeted the messages from this fake Russian bot, including yourself. In fact, in October 20, you retweeted one of the tweets from this bot, which said, "Thousands of deplorables chanting to the media, tell the truth, RT if you're also done with biased media." And you retweeted that. Were you aware you were retweeting a Russian bot when you put that out there on Twitter?
No, I was retweeting knowing that the media is biased.
But it was a Russian bot, and you amplified its message. You were not aware of that.
No, I don't think Twitter posts the flag or the IP addresses of other entities. I've retweeted lots of tweets. Millions of people retweet tweets. You don't have any idea who's behind that account. I agree with the message that the media was biased. Did I have any idea who's behind it? No. If there would have been a Russian flag and an IP up there and saying this is a meddling our thing, would I retweet it? No. But that's not information that I don't know.
Do you feel manipulated?
Do I feel manipulated by Russia?
Yes.
For retweeting one tweet?
Well, you and other Trump campaign officials retweeted multiple tweets from this particular Russian bot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Twitter. I mean, I think Twitter went to Russia and tried to sell 15% of our entire messaging to them for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Jack Dorsey wanted Russia's money. I didn't take Russia's money. I retweeted a tweet which says the media is biased, which I truly believe it is.
But at least in this case, and in the other tweets that Trump campaign officials, including Kellyanne Conway, Michael Flynn, Donald Trump Jr. retweeted, your message was completely consistent with the Russian message that was being sent to voters in the election.
I think
if you're retweeting their messaging, you want it amplified. You are consistent with their messaging.
I think you're defining exactly what I retweeted.
I'm sorry?
I think you're defining in your questioning exactly what I retweeted.
Explain.
I mean, that's not even a story to say of some retweet. I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, like, I don't know who's behind that. I retweet a tweet. I retweet a lot of tweets. It's not saying that I endorse anything that's behind that. I think it's part of the messaging. I think it's bad that Russia meddles. I think it's bad for any foreign entity to meddle in the election. I don't want that. However, I don't have the ability to know what's going on there. I don't have the ability to regulate it. I can't do anything about it.
Okay.
I hope they do something about it.
But you're sorry you did that?
No, I'm not sorry. I mean, I can't take back what I already tweeted. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate they were poor. I'm not saying that the message in there I'm upset about. Yes, I feel bad that it was there was not a Tennessee account, and that I got fooled that it was a Tennessee GOP account. Yeah, I mean, I wish Twitter would make that more obvious.
Right. Right. As you look at the controversy over Russia's role in the election, I mean, it's clear you're acknowledging here that they did fool people, including yourself, including senior officials of the Trump campaign. Do you think it would be better if the president, instead of fighting the investigations that are being conducted by the Congress and Special Counsel Mueller, embraced it and said, please, let's get to the bottom of this. I want to work with you. I'm going to stop attacking everybody who investigates this. Let the facts speak for themselves.
I can only speak for myself, and I've said that I hope they figure out everything that happened and what it is and prevent it from happening in the future. I've always been fully supportive of the investigation.
So when the president attacks Special Counsel Mueller or the
You'd have to ask him that. I mean, I don't speak for the president.
I'm just asking your thoughts.
I don't speak for the president. I can only speak for myself and say, I hope they investigate it and they figure out all the truth and they stop it from happening in the future.
Looking forward, you're working for the president's super PAC now, and you hope to be working for his re-election. What does he have to do to make your job easier for 2020?
Keep tweeting.
That's it?
I love him tweeting.
So govern by tweeting.
No, I think he talks directly to the people. I'm sick of people who don't want to talk directly to the people. And I think that we had a whole bunch of politicians that wanted you to have the view of which the media gave them, and I'd much rather have a president that talks directly to me.
Well, if you had one word of advice for him right now, beyond keep tweeting, what would it be?
One word of advice. Hire me again in 2020?
Sounds like you probably are in good standing for that. Anyway, we are exactly out of time. There's a lot more, but I appreciate you answering the questions.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.